From the market storm to a real one, Hurricane Danny is starting to pick up strength there. It's now Cat 2, and while many are dismissing it, Joe Bastardi says this is the start of what will be an El Nino-like hurricane season. Joe, you're looking for a bad one, huh?
Well, what I'm concerned about is that the closer a storm gets into the United States, once it breaks through the Caribbean, if it survives the Caribbean or the part of the Atlantic where things are very hostile, I'm worried that the conditions near the United States are ideal for development. So the September 2002, for instance, the weather pattern right now looks very similar to me to that. And we had Lily and Isidore in the Gulf. And those of you who remember what those two storms did, they were both Category 4s. And fortunately, they fell apart in one way or the other before they hit the United States. They really raised a ruckus with the market because people couldn't figure out how they were going to deal with it if the storms came in. Of course, 2 years later or 3 years later, we had Katrina and Rita, which shows you what can happen. You know, next week, I think, is the 10th anniversary of Katrina, and we were told back then that that changed everything. There was a new paradigm shift. We were going to have storms every single year as strong as Katrina and deadly as Katrina, or more so. That has not materialized. What's exactly going on here, Joe? Well, what happens is, as in anything in nature, it goes back and forth. And what happens is, but what about the global warming stuff? I'm confused. We were supposed to be right now. We're supposed to have these routinely. Well, I'm surprised that there hasn't been more action off the eastern seaboard. Back in 2006, I said that by 2015, through the 2015 season, I expected two major hurricanes to hit the United States. And technically, Irene and Sandy were not major hurricanes. So that forecast is in jeopardy there. So I'm a little surprised that the western Atlantic along the eastern seaboard, which had 8 major hurricanes in 7 years in the 1950s, hasn't had more action than what we've had. Of course, today the problem is, Charles, that every storm that shows up is some fossil fuel beast, no matter what. And it's just a matter of people pushing an agenda. The atmosphere always goes back and forth. What I'm most concerned about this year is that in close to the United States, and we had this outlined back in April, it's the closer you get into the United States coast, the more the parameters are such that storms can intensify until they reach land. So if you get a tropical cyclone in the Gulf, or let's say in the Bahamas, whether it came from an old front that was stalled there or one of these African waves that gets across, it doesn't sit there and go, oh, wait a minute, I can't intensify because of the El Nino. It will use the conditions in front of it to maximize itself, and that's what you're seeing with Danny. So Danny is moving slow. Real quick, buddy, before I let you go, when will you feel comfortable that this won't develop into a worst-case scenario? What, Danny? Yeah, Danny. I think Danny's going to be beaten like a rented mule as it moves west-northwest, going to get sheared right apart. There's a lot of dry air, but what's coming after Danny, in a couple of more days behind it, may indeed be something that reaches close to the United States coastline in 7 to 10 days. I think that's the more volatile threat for the U.S. coast rather than Danny. All right. Nice seeing you, buddy. It's been a long time. We'll talk to you again real soon.